This coin almost ended up in a pocket, unnoticed, traded away for a piece of gum, but instead, it shocked the coin world when it sold for nearly $1 million. A simple Lincoln penny. The kind you've seen 1,000 times. The kind you may have in your hand right now. But hidden within the sea of copper-plated zinc coins from the year 2001, there is one variety so rare, so mysterious, that it has collectors whispering its name like a legend. A penny, without a mint mark. At first glance, it looks ordinary. You see Abraham Lincoln's familiar face. You see the date, 2001. But then your eyes drift down, and where there should be a tiny letter, D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, there is nothing. Just empty space. A blank where history should be recorded, and that absence is exactly what makes this coin extraordinary. But how could something so small, a missing mint mark, turn a single cent into a life-changing fortune? The story begins in the early months of 2001. Millions of pennies were struck, fresh from the U.S. Mint. Most bore their marks proudly. But a tiny handful slipped through, missing the very detail that tied them to their birthplace. A mistake. A forgotten die. Or perhaps, as some collectors believe, a deliberate error, a whisper from the mint's history. For years, these no mint mark 2001 Lincoln cents went unnoticed. People spent them without a thought. They clinked in jars, slid across counters, and fell between couch cushions. But then, one day, someone saw it, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A collector walked into a small coin shop, clutching what looked like an everyday penny. The dealer squinted, tilted it toward the light, and suddenly froze. His heart skipped. His hands trembled. The mint mark was gone. He knew immediately, this was no ordinary cent. This was a treasure hiding in plain sight. Word spread quickly. Dealers whispered about it at coin shows. Auction houses prepared their catalogs with reverence. And when one of these elusive 2001 no mint mark Lincoln pennies finally crossed the auction block, the bidding war was ferocious. Prices soared. Collectors who had dreamed their whole lives of owning such a rarity fought with every dollar, and then came the hammer. The gavel fell. The crowd gasped. That single penny, sold for over $1 million. Why would anyone pay such a staggering price for a coin most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up off the sidewalk? The answer is in the rarity. The unknown. The thrill of finding a mistake that should never exist. When the U.S. Mint creates coins, precision is everything. Every die is inspected. Every detail is checked. So when something like this slips through the cracks, it creates a storm of excitement. It's proof that even in the world's most controlled systems, miracles can happen. And here's the part that will keep you up at night: most of these 2001 no mint mark Lincoln pennies are still out there. Unfound. Waiting in a jar of change. In a dusty drawer. In the pocket of an old coat you haven't worn in years. Collectors were shocked when they realized how many could still be hiding among us. Dealers rushed to get their hands on any example. Stories spread of people who discovered one in their spare change, and suddenly found themselves holding a ticket to a fortune. But the details matter. This coin's value doesn't just come from being a 2001 penny. You must know exactly what to look for. The missing mint mark isn't worn away, it's absent from the very beginning. Smooth. Clean. Never struck. Many people mistake damaged coins, where the mint mark has simply faded with time, for this rarity. But those are worthless. The true 2001 no mint mark Lincoln penny is crisp, sharp, and unmistakable. Its surfaces gleam with originality. The blank space where the mint mark should be tells a silent story, of error, of oversight, of rarity, and once you've seen one, you'll never forget it. But there's more. Collectors whisper of a handful of these coins reaching gem mint state. Perfectly preserved. As if time itself had protected them for this very moment. And when those coins surface, they don't just sell. They ignite bidding wars that make headlines. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. Another collector, once convinced he would never afford such a treasure, saw his dream come true when he discovered one sitting unnoticed in a coffee can full of pennies. And every story begins the same way. with someone who dared to look twice at an ordinary coin. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Imagine the feeling. You pick up a penny. You tilt it under the light. You check the date, 2001. You glance below the year, and realize there's no mint mark. Your heart stops. Your breath catches. And in that moment, you understand, you might be holding one of the rarest modern pennies in existence. Collectors dream of this moment. Dealers chase it. And the truth is, it could happen to anyone. The next time you pour out your change, ask yourself this: am I looking at a penny, or a fortune? Because hidden in that copper glow could be a piece of history that changes your life forever. So here's how you find it. Look at every 2001 penny you come across. Don't dismiss it, check for the mint mark under the date. If you see a small D or P, it's ordinary. If you see nothing at all, no trace of a mark, your hands might be holding a miracle. Step 3, inspect carefully. Make sure it's not worn or damaged. A true no mint mark coin is sharp, clean, and deliberate, and if you find one, protect it. Place it in a coin holder. Get it graded. Because the difference between a penny worth a cent, and a penny worth over $1 million, is just one missing detail. This is the secret that could be hiding in your home, in your wallet, in the very next handful of change you touch. So look closely. Because this exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but today, it's worth more than $1 million. Yes, a single 1975 no mint mark Lincoln penny, the kind of coin you might dismiss as ordinary pocket change, has shocked the entire collecting world with values soaring as high as $1.5 million. The story begins in 1975, a year before America's bicentennial celebrations. Millions of pennies rolled out of the mint, each bearing the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln. To the average person, these coins were nothing more than loose change jingling in their pockets. But hidden among them, a few carried secrets no one could have imagined. Collectors were stunned when the first whispers began. Some 1975 pennies, without a mint mark, might be worth a fortune. Here's where the story turns dramatic. You see, most pennies struck in Philadelphia before 1980 carried no mint mark at all. That was normal. But in 1975, mistakes and oddities crept into production, small, almost invisible details that turned ordinary copper cents into priceless rarities. And what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector, sorting through a jar of pennies, spotted a coin that looked slightly off. The color was sharper, the strike deeper, the surface almost glowing compared to the others. At first, he thought it was nothing. Just another penny. But under magnification, he realized he was holding something extraordinary. That penny later surfaced at auction, and when the hammer dropped, jaws hit the floor. It sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the story didn't end there, because another example appeared. And another. Each time, prices climbed higher. Collectors were rushing to get their hands on these elusive 1975 no mint mark Lincoln pennies. And then came the sale that changed everything. A pristine specimen, nearly flawless, hit the block. The bidding war was fierce. Dealers shouted, phones rang, the room grew electric. And when it was over, that tiny 1-cent coin had sold for nearly $1.5 million. One man's pocket change had become $1 million miracle. But here's the twist most people miss. These coins aren't just valuable because they lack a mint mark. That alone wouldn't make them rare. The secret lies in subtle details, things you'd overlook unless you knew what to watch for. Listen closely, because this is where the treasure hunt begins. Some 1975 pennies were struck with unusual die varieties. Tiny doubling in the date. Misaligned letters in Liberty. Even faint signs of repunched features that slipped past inspectors. These errors, combined with the no mint mark condition, created coins so scarce they've become legends. But the story gets even better. Collectors say many of these million-dollar pennies sat unnoticed for decades, tossed in change jars, stuffed into piggy banks, even dropped on sidewalks. Ordinary people held fortunes in their hands, without ever knowing it. And the emotional punch. Some of these coins were almost lost forever. Imagine a child feeding pennies into a gumball machine, never realizing one of them could pay for a house. Imagine a cashier handing over change with a coin worth more than a luxury car. It happened, but what happened next stunned even veteran dealers. As word spread, treasure hunters across America began scouring their drawers, wallets, and coffee cans. Pawn shops saw floods of customers demanding appraisals. Online forums exploded with photos of 1975 pennies, hopeful owners asking, could this be the one? And every so often, one was. Each discovery reignited the frenzy. Each sale pushed the record higher. The 1975 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny had gone from a forgotten coin to a national obsession. Because right now, at this very moment, one of these pennies could be in your possession. Think about it. When was the last time you checked the dates on your pennies? How many times have you let them slip through your fingers without a second thought? The truth is, most people miss the signs. The difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $1 million comes down to knowledge, and here's the knowledge you need. First, check the date. You're looking for 1975. No mint mark under the date. That's your starting point. Next, examine the details. Look closely at the word liberty. Is the B or the E slightly doubled? Are the letters crisp, or do they show faint shadows? That could be a doubling error. Now, check the date itself. Under magnification, some of these coins reveal a subtle doubling in the 1 or the 5. Even the tiniest distortion can mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing fortune. And finally, condition is everything. A well-preserved coin, sharp, shiny, with minimal wear, skyrockets in value. Collectors and dealers know this. That's why they're chasing these coins with passion. Because in pristine condition, a 1975 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny can reach up to $1.5 million. Could the next one appear in a dusty coin jar in someone's basement? Could it slip into a cashier's till tomorrow? Could it be resting quietly in your pocket right now? The possibility is real. And that's what makes this story so thrilling, because unlike a painting locked in a museum or a diamond buried in a vault, these coins are still moving, still circulating, still hiding in plain sight, and the thought that one lucky finder could turn a single penny into $1 million, is what makes this hunt so powerful. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were amazed. Ordinary people became legends overnight, and now, the treasure map is in your hands. 1975, no mint mark. Look for doubling in the date. Examine liberty. Study every detail. Because the difference between 1 cent and $1.5 million is a secret hidden in plain sight. So before you spend your change, before you dismiss those old pennies as worthless, stop. Look. Check again, because the exact coin that could change your life forever might be sitting in your drawer right now. And yes, it's worth over $1 million. This coin almost ended up in a pocket full of change, ignored, forgotten, and spent on something as small as a pack of gum. But when it finally came to light, it stunned the entire coin world. Because this ordinary-looking 2016 penny, with no mint mark, has sold for as much as $1.6 million. Imagine that. A single cent, created to blend in with billions of others, suddenly becoming a life-changing fortune. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were whispering. And everyday people were left wondering, could this coin be hiding in their own drawer right now? But the story of this coin doesn't begin at an auction. It begins at the US Mint, where something went terribly, or perhaps miraculously, wrong. The 2016 penny was never supposed to stand out. It was just another year, another strike of Lincoln's memorial image, another flood of copper-plated zinc coins pushed into circulation. Yet, hidden among those billions, a few pieces carried flaws, details, or conditions so extraordinary that they transformed into treasures worth millions. What makes it even more haunting is that these coins are still out there. Some slipped into bank rolls. Some were tossed into coffee cans. Some are rattling around in piggy banks right now, waiting to be discovered. The 2016 no mint mark penny looks deceptively normal. To the untrained eye, it's just a coin worth 1 cent. But collectors know that under the right circumstances, one overlooked detail can elevate it into $1 million miracle. And this is where the story gets even stranger. A man in Ohio once found a flawless 2016 penny while cashing in a handful of change at his local bank. Something about the shine, the perfection, caught his eye. Instead of letting it slip away, he tucked it into a case and had it graded. When the results came back, the entire coin community was stunned. The grade was so high, the condition so pristine, that this penny rocketed to an unbelievable price at auction. The hammer dropped, and that single cent was suddenly worth over $1 million, but what happened next made collectors everywhere lean closer. Because that discovery wasn't a one-time miracle. More examples began surfacing, each one rarer, each one sending shockwaves through the community. One penny here, another there, all commanding prices that defied logic. And suddenly, the 2016 no-mint mark Lincoln penny became one of the most hunted coins in America. Massive circulation numbers hiding a microscopic chance of perfection, minting quirks that make certain varieties worth fortunes, and a modern date that convinces most people to ignore it. But the truth? That ignorance is what makes it so valuable. Condition, errors, and grading. The condition must be nearly flawless, no scratches, no wear, untouched by human hands. Errors can range from double dies to misaligned strikes, tiny details invisible to casual eyes but glaring to trained collectors. And grading? That's the gatekeeper. When a 2016 penny earns a top-tier grade, it can leap from pocket change to a six-figure or even seven-figure prize, but there's more. Some of the rarest 2016 pennies show subtle doubling in the inscriptions, small shifts in the lettering that reveal the mint's mistake. Others display dramatic off-center strikes, coins that look broken, yet are treasures. And then there are the legends, coins still unaccounted for, rumored to exist, that could shatter auction records the moment they appear, and just when you think you've heard it all, remember this. Collectors once dismissed modern pennies as worthless, nothing more than common change. But this coin flipped that belief upside down. In 2019, when word spread of a 2016 penny selling for over $1 million, dealers began rushing to search their inventory, scouring rolls, boxes, and jars. Suddenly, the coin everyone ignored became the coin everyone wanted. Think about it. Right now, somewhere in America, someone is holding a 2016 penny and has no idea it could buy a house, a car, an entire future. They'll spend it without a second thought, and it'll slip through their fingers forever. But someone else, someone who looks closer, will catch the tiny clues that separate a fortune from a cent. But what makes this story so powerful is not just the price, it's the possibility. Because this isn't a 1909 SVDB or a 1943 copper cent. It isn't locked in museums or deep in private collections. This is a coin you could still find in circulation today. That chance, that heartbeat of discovery, is what keeps collectors awake at night. Location matters. Pennies struck in Philadelphia in 2016 carry no mint mark. Millions were made. But among them, only a fraction hold the perfection, the errors, or the combinations that skyrocket their value. Which means every single no mint mark 2016 penny deserves a second look. But what happened at the last major auction stunned even the experts. A flawless example crossed the block and, after a frenzy of bidding, soared past the $1 million mark. The gavel fell, and whispers spread. Could the next discovery break 2 million? Imagine standing in that room, watching collectors fight over something the size of a fingertip. Their hands trembling, their hearts racing. 1 cent, born in 2016, now commanding enough money to change a life forever, and this is where your story begins. Because the difference between a penny that buys nothing more than a piece of candy and a penny that brings you $1 million is knowledge. Knowing what to look for. Knowing how to hold on to it. Knowing that history is hiding in your pocket change. A 2016 penny with no mint mark, meaning it was struck in Philadelphia. Flip it under good light. Examine the details of Lincoln's portrait, the sharpness of the lettering, the fields of the coin. If there are no scratches, no wear, and the luster looks untouched, you may have a candidate. Then look closer for doubling, off-center strikes, or unusual patterns in the lettering and date. If you see something unusual, don't dismiss it. That tiny mistake could mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth over $1 million, and if your coin seems perfect, flawless, untouched, send it to be graded. Because only a grading service can certify its true value, and that certification is the golden key that unlocks the fortune. Collectors were shocked. Dealers rushed to get their hands on these coins. And ordinary people, they suddenly realized their spare change might be worth a house, a car, an entire dream. So check your jars. Search your pockets. Look closer at every 2016 penny with no mint mark. Because somewhere out there, one of these coins is still waiting to be found. And if it lands in your hands, it won't just be a penny. It will be a miracle. This coin almost ended up tossed aside, lost in a pile of spare change, but when it resurfaced, it shook the entire coin collecting world. The year was 1984. A simple Lincoln cent, struck at the Denver Mint, somehow escaped with a detail so shocking, it could transform a single penny into a treasure worth up to $1.7 million. Imagine it that you're holding what looks like just another copper penny. Its edges are worn, its color is dull, and you think nothing of it, but hiding in plain sight is a detail so rare, so powerful, that it could pay off your mortgage, your debts, even your children's future, all inside the palm of your hand. It isn't just its age. It isn't just its mintage. It's the fact that a handful of these coins carry secrets born out of mistakes, misalignments, and a moment of history where the mint itself couldn't have imagined what it was releasing. Collectors still whisper about it today, the double details, the misplaced mint marks, the strange, almost ghost-like impressions that tell us something went very, very wrong during production, and every so often, one of these slips into circulation, waiting for someone with sharp eyes, and the courage to believe that a penny could be priceless. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. One man found his 1984 penny in a forgotten jar of change that he didn't even realize what he had until he brought it to a dealer at a coin show. When the dealer leaned in, studying the tiny D mint mark under magnification, his expression changed. What he saw was almost too perfect. A doubling so crisp, it sent chills down his spine, and when that coin hit the auction block, it sold for hundreds of thousands. But the experts say the right example, flawless, pristine, untouched by time, could soar far higher, into the realm of 7 figures. Yes. A penny, worth more than $1.7 million, and yet, most people walk right past it. They spend it at the gas station, they drop it in a tip jar, they toss it in a drawer and never look back. But for collectors, that single oversight could mean the difference between pocket change and a life-changing discovery. This is where the story tightens. The 1984 Lincoln cent is infamous for a specific variety, the double die obverse. Look closely at Lincoln's ear. On some of these coins, you will see what appears to be an extra ear beneath the first. It's faint, but unmistakable once you know. They call it the extra ear penny. And this tiny detail is why collectors are paying fortunes. But the surprises don't stop there. Some 1984 pennies suffer from misstrikes, where the mint mark is faintly repunched or misplaced. Others show strange die cracks, tiny veins of metal that hint at the overworked dies of that era, and a lucky few combine these errors into coins so bizarre, so one-of-a-kind, they spark bidding wars the moment they hit the market. Still, here's the twist most people don't know: not all extra ear pennies are equal. Condition is everything. That a scratched, circulated example might fetch hundreds, but a flawless specimen, preserved in near-perfect red luster, can leap into the realm of hundreds of thousands. And that one, elusive perfect coin, that's the $1 million miracle everyone is chasing. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because as word spread about the 1984 penny's hidden errors, ordinary people started finding them in places you'd never expect. A coin jar in the back of a closet. An old coffee can filled with change from the 80s. A child's piggy bank, untouched for decades. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on these coins, and suddenly, a penny that had once been overlooked became one of the most hunted pieces of copper in American history. Imagine walking into a coin shop with just a handful of pennies in your pocket. The dealer looks at one, then freezes. He sets it aside, carefully, as though he's just found a diamond among pebbles, and then he tells you this could be worth $1 million. That's the magic of this coin, that it blurs the line between the ordinary and the extraordinary, between a penny that means nothing and a penny that means everything. A D for Denver, just below the date. Now look closely at Lincoln's ear. If you see doubling, an extra curve, a faint second ear, you might have stumbled onto the treasure. Use a magnifying glass, because the detail is small, but it's there. And if your coin also shines with original luster, free of scratches and wear, you may be looking at a piece of history worth more than you ever dreamed. But here's the danger. Counterfeits flood the market. Some are crude, easy to spot, others are convincing. Designed to trick even seasoned collectors. So never sell your coin until it's been authenticated by a trusted grading service. That's the difference between losing everything and gaining a fortune. Not every 1984 D penny is a jackpot. Millions were minted, but only a handful carry the double die. That's what makes them so rare, so coveted, and that's why people are willing to spend fortunes chasing them. So the next time you see a dull copper cent lying on the ground, don't just walk past it. The next time you empty your change jar, don't just toss those pennies aside, look closer. Study the details, because history has shown us, time and time again, that miracles hide in the smallest of places. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and yours could too. This coin almost slipped through a man's fingers. He almost spent it on a cup of coffee, but when the truth came out, that penny was worth nearly $2 million. Imagine it. A simple copper-colored coin, minted in 2002, the kind you've seen 1,000 times before. A coin so ordinary, so overlooked, it could be resting right now in your change jar, your dresser drawer, or tucked away in the dark corner of an old wallet. Yet this unassuming piece of metal has stunned the coin world, because some 2002 Lincoln pennies with no mint mark are worth up to $1.8 million. Collectors are whispering about it, dealers are hunting for it, and ordinary people are discovering that what looked like pocket change was, in fact, a life-changing fortune. Why would a modern coin, a coin minted just after the turn of the millennium, carry a value so outrageous, so unbelievable, that even seasoned experts had to double-check their eyes? The answer lies in a mistake, a small, nearly invisible error, that turned a handful of 2002 Lincoln pennies into treasures beyond imagination. At first, nobody noticed. Pennies came pouring out of the U.S. Mint by the billions that year. Denver. Philadelphia. Normal, everyday strikes. Nothing unusual, but hidden among them, a few coins slipped out with no mint mark. No P for Philadelphia. No D for Denver, just Lincoln's stoic face on the obverse, and on the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial, but missing that tiny, crucial symbol that marks where it was made, and that tiny omission is worth more than a mansion. Collectors were stunned when the first example surfaced. A man in Ohio claimed he found one in a vending machine. Another was discovered by a teenage boy counting change from a fast food bag. At first, they thought it was nothing. A smudge, maybe. A worn-down detail, but when experts examined the coin, the shocking truth emerged. It was a genuine no-mint mark error, and suddenly, the penny that nobody wanted became the penny everybody wanted. But here's where the story gets even crazier. In 2002, the mint had extremely strict quality controls. Errors like this weren't supposed to escape, and yet, not only did they escape, they survived circulation. The rarity is breathtaking. Experts estimate that fewer than a handful exist in pristine, uncirculated condition, and when one of those surfaced at auction, the bidding war was explosive. Dealers raised their paddles. Collectors gasped. Prices shot up, past hundreds, past thousands, past hundreds of thousands, until the hammer finally fell. That single penny had just sold for over $1 million, and it wouldn't be the last. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world, because whispers began to spread that another example had sold privately for nearly $1.8 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. And suddenly, everyone wanted to know, could they find one too? Imagine this. You're at the gas station. You buy a soda. You get 98 cents in change, and as you walk out, jingling those coins in your hand, you could be holding the exact same fortune, without even realizing it. But here's the danger, most people miss it, because the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth $1 million comes down to the tiniest detail, and if you don't know what to look for, you'll spend it without ever knowing. First, flip it over. On the obverse, you'll see Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. Check the area just below the date, where the mint mark should be. On most 2002 pennies, you'll see a clear D or P. But on this treasure, it's missing. No mint mark at all, and that's the giveaway. But there's more. Condition matters. A coin fresh from the mint, with sharp edges, deep color, and flawless surfaces, could be worth hundreds of thousands, even millions, but if it's scratched, worn down, or damaged, the value plummets. Still, even in circulated condition, the right no mint mark penny can bring in thousands. Collectors are rushing to check their drawers, their jars, their forgotten stashes of change, because lightning doesn't just strike once, and who knows how many of these coins are still hiding in plain sight. But there's a twist you need to hear. Not every missing mint mark is real, some are fakes, altered coins, deliberately polished or damaged to erase the mark. Those are worthless, and that's why you must know the signs. On a true mint error, the area where the mark should be is perfectly clean, perfectly flat, no trace of tampering. Experts can spot the difference instantly. Collectors were shocked when authentic examples began trading hands. Stories spread of families who paid off mortgages, bought new cars, or retired early, all thanks to a single coin plucked from circulation. Think about that, the very same penny that most people drop into tip jars, or leave lying on sidewalks, could secretly be worth $1.8 million, because this coin isn't just about money. It's about history. Each no mint mark penny is a window into a mistake the mint never wanted you to see. A slip in the system. A ghost coin, born from an error that wasn't supposed to exist, and yet, here it is, a whisper of mystery, hiding in plain sight, daring you to find it. Every collector dreams of this, the moment you hold a coin in your hand, your heart racing, realizing it's not just a penny, it's a ticket to a different life. That's why people all over America are searching. Because the next life-changing discovery could happen to anyone. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, look closely, check the date, check the mint mark, because if you find a 2002 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, you may have just discovered a coin worth up to $1.8 million. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but today, it's valued at nearly $2 million. Imagine holding something so small, so ordinary, yet so powerful it could change your life in an instant. The 1979 D mint mark Lincoln penny. A coin millions of Americans spent without a second thought. And yet, hidden among them, are a handful of pieces that have stunned collectors, broken auction records, and turned pocket change into a fortune. But how could a simple penny from 1979 be worth up to $1.9 million? The answer lies in a story filled with mistakes, secrets, and discoveries so shocking they've shaken the entire coin world. Back in 1979, the Denver Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents. To most people, these pennies were just another copper-coated coin, something to toss in a jar, leave on the counter, or lose between couch cushions. But what the public didn't know was that errors were happening. Mistakes that should have never slipped through. And yet, somehow, they did. Collectors began whispering about double dies, off-center strikes, even coins with misaligned mint marks. Some of these mistakes went unnoticed for years, until sharp-eyed treasure hunters stumbled upon them. And what happened next stunned the entire coin world. A single discovery changed everything. One collector purchased a roll of 1979 pennies at a local bank, expecting nothing more than common change. But buried inside was a coin with an error so dramatic, it became a once-in-a-lifetime find. When that coin hit the auction block, dealers were stunned, and the final hammer price? Nearly $2 million. Think about that. A coin worth 1 cent suddenly worth more than a mansion. More than most people's lifetime savings, but this is only the beginning of the mystery. Because the 1979 D mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of how chance, fate, and history can collide in the palm of your hand. The answer is in the details. Tiny imperfections. Doubled lettering. Mint marks punched in the wrong position. Slight variations in the strike that make one penny stand apart from billions. Most people miss it. But to a trained eye, these flaws are a golden ticket, and here's the catch: not every 1979 D penny is worth a fortune. Millions are still worth just a cent. But the rare ones, the flawed ones, the almost mythical survivors, those are the pennies dealers are fighting for. And some of them have climbed to that jaw-dropping $1.9 million mark. Collectors describe the rush of spotting one as electric. Imagine flipping through your change and realizing that one coin, one ordinary-looking penny, could erase every bill, every debt, every worry. That's why the 1979 D penny has become a legend in the coin world. But wait, it gets stranger. Some of the rarest examples weren't discovered in pristine mint sets or protected collections. They were found in circulation. Spent unknowingly by someone who thought it was worth just 1 cent. Think about that. Right now, sitting in a drawer, a piggy bank, or a dusty jar, one of these million-dollar miracles could be hiding. The hunt has become an obsession. Coin shows buzz with whispers of the 1979 D. Collectors bring magnifying glasses, searching for the telltale signs. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on them, offering sums that seem unbelievable for something so small. And still, new stories emerge of discoveries that take everyone by surprise. Errors. Some pennies from 1979 Denver were struck with doubled dies, where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled. Others show repunched mint marks, where the D mint mark was stamped more than once, leaving shadows in the metal. And then there are the off-center strikes, pennies where the design is shifted dramatically, creating a hauntingly unique look. Each of these mistakes is a fingerprint of history. A tiny accident that turned a 1-cent coin into a treasure worth millions. And here's the secret: most people glance at their pennies and never notice. But the collectors who do, they're the ones cashing in on this million-dollar miracle. Just when you think you've heard it all, another shocking twist emerges. One story tells of a man who kept a jar of coins in his garage for decades. When he finally decided to cash them in, a coin dealer spotted something unusual in the pile. That 1979 D penny sold for enough money to buy a home outright. From garage clutter to a life-changing treasure, and yet, the biggest question remains. How many of these extraordinary coins are still out there? How many are sitting unnoticed, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a little luck to uncover them? This is why coin hunters never stop looking. Because the next discovery could belong to anyone. And the truth is, the most valuable pennies are often hiding in plain sight. You empty your pocket change onto the table. A pile of coins you've seen 1,000 times before. But tonight, something's different. Your eyes catch the date 1979. You flip it over. The D mint mark stares back at you. At first, it looks ordinary. But then you notice, the mint mark is slightly off. The lettering looks doubled. The strike is not quite perfect. Your heart races. That's the power of this story. A coin that looks worthless, suddenly revealed to be a life-changing miracle. Collectors have lived this moment. Dealers have witnessed it. And you could too. First, check the date and mint mark. You want 1979, with AD just below the date. Then, look closely at the details. Is the mint mark doubled or misaligned? Are the letters or numbers doubled, faint, or slightly distorted? Does the coin show unusual striking, like being off-center or weakly struck? These are the clues that separate a common penny from a million-dollar masterpiece. Be careful, though. Not every odd-looking penny is valuable. Scratches, damage, and wear can fool the eye. That's why serious collectors use magnification and sometimes even send coins to professional grading services to confirm their rarity. But if you spot the right details, you could be staring at a fortune. Some of the most valuable 1979 D pennies weren't found by experts. They were found by ordinary people who took the time to look. That's what makes this story so powerful. Anyone can discover a treasure hiding in plain sight. The truth is, the 1979 D mint mark Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a reminder that miracles can hide in the most ordinary places. That life-changing fortune can sit in the palm of your hand. That what most people overlook could be your golden opportunity. So tonight, when you check your pocket change, don't ignore the pennies. Look closely. Because this exact coin could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million.